A variety of announcements and policy changes have stoked flames on both sides of the immigration debate. In Vermont, demographics are challenging. Economic growth is dependent on population growth, which is in turn dependent on people moving to the state. A Vermont Chamber of Commerce estimate is that there's a gap of nearly 11,000 new workers in the state every year. Extremely low unemployment, declining population levels, and weak tax revenue should encourage all Vermonters to welcome migrants and refugees. So why would there be any wariness? Most skeptics focus on the integration, assimilation of individuals and security, as well as the fiscal costs incurred by small communities as their main issues. A 2013 book called Exodus by Oxford University professor Paul Collier concluded after an exhaustive review of all research that modern immigration has a predominantly favorable effect on the indigenous population and ambiguous social effects. A 2007 study by the National Bureau of Economic Research found that immigrants have much lower incarceration rates than the local born, on the order of 1/5 the rate of natives. The Cato Institute concludes in their analysis of immigration and terrorism between 1975 and 2015 that the probability of perishing in a terrorist attack committed by a foreigner on U.S. soil is 1 in 3.6 million. The Economist magazine, building on that Cato study, suggests that you are more likely to be killed by a cow, fireworks, or malfunctioning elevators than an immigrant terrorist. For 5 years in the 1990s, I worked with the U.S. refugee program and can state without hesitation that the screening process was extremely rigorous, even way back then. So what about the costs, particularly for refugees? When it comes to resettlement, there are certainly upfront costs related to temporary housing, skills training, and job placement that need to be considered. But beyond these initial costs, there's very little evidence that refugees place a long-term burden on their host economy. A 2012 study by the Immigrant Learning Center notes that migrants have started thousands of science and technology businesses that are quietly creating almost 500,000 jobs for Americans and generating revenue of more than $50 billion. Rather than employing an ad hoc approach of executive orders and bans, what is really needed now is a comprehensive reform of U.S. immigration policy, including a clear path for the 11 million undocumented immigrants in the country today. In fact, the Gang of Eight made such a proposal in an immigration bill that passed the Senate in 2013. Sadly, the bill languishes in the House and has never come up for a vote. While there are strong economic and social arguments against any ban on classes of migrants, perhaps the strongest is a moral one. We're a country whose foundations are built on immigration and the principles of racial and religious tolerance. Vermont clearly needs more migration in the coming years, and we can't just cherry-pick migrants from one country or another. Migrants must want to come to the U.S., and they must want to come to our state. At the base of the Statue of Liberty is a plaque with Emma Lazarus' poem, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free." They need this, our country needs it, and Vermont needs it too. Thank you.